So I got this thinking, you're probably gonna be in Vietnam. People are gonna ask you, where are you from? Where are you from? All the time.
Oh wow. And when I tell them, they don't know where it is usually. What does it say? What is it? Oh, Virginia. Nice. Okay, awesome. Virginia. Yeah, this is really cool. And comfortable too.
I hope it's your size. I don't know.
I'm sure it is. I'll take it to the beach tomorrow.
You sit. You need to teach him how to sit. I can't believe you don't know how to teach him to sit.
If he sees food, he will sit. Look,
Okay.
sit. He doesn't know food.
No, he knows sit, but he doesn't know how to lay.
Ah, yeah, lay. He doesn't know how to lay.
How do you like this lay?
Luca, can you tell, please? Get down. Can you sit? Good job. Okay, I guess Luca will join us.
Oh, you started.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's recording.
All right, awesome.
Should
You started. Bless you.
Episode 23.
Oh,
Episode
right.
23.
23.
And the second one in Virginia.
I thought you were gonna say episode 9. I was like, class of 09.
Oh, right. Class of 09, so fine. We found the yearbook. We found the yearbook and we found our faces too.
I didn't forget your face, but I'm so forgettable is what he's trying to say.
Nah.
Just kidding.
I just forgot your last name. So we know each other since high school or middle school?
Middle school.
Since middle school.
Yeah.
Damn.
You and Arturo were attached on the hip in middle school.
Did we have any classes together in middle school? I can't remember.
I highly doubt it because they put me in ESL and that's a whole
Really?
different story. Yeah.
Why?
Because I was the immigrant. I was the out of the.
Oh, okay.
And apparently I had a thick accent, which I never thought I did, but now when I look back at my old videos, I think I do.
Wait, when did you move to America?
2002 September, I think.
From where?
And that was our down the street is where we lived.
Oh, this was like your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Damn.
And yeah, a lot of good, bitter, and sweet memories here.
Same.
Yeah. Life was so much more simpler back then, I feel.
Wait, where did you move from?
From Saudi.
From Saudi? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was born and raised there.
Damn, I thought you were from somewhere else.
I mean, my family is Pakistani, but
Oh, okay.
I was born and raised there, yeah. Me and my older sister and my younger sister.
Dang.
And then my eldest two sisters.
Which city
were
did you
born
grow
in
up in?
Tehran, or I don't know.
I don't know that one.
But that's basically like the district thing. Oh.
There you go.
Cut that off. Here you go.
Oh, thanks.
And but the township, I guess the area, is called Restaurant.
How many, like how big was the population of the place where you lived
I have
in?
no idea. It's best to Google it.
Was it like a big city like New York or something?
It was one of those things. Basically, it was it was more city and suburban like. So it was more like it was more like here, like Centerville, but not as suburban. So it's like you could still see the mosque and the streets and the bazaars right across from like our window and stuff.
How many languages do you speak?
I only two. Urdu and English.
Arabic and.
But don't look at my resume.
Wait, Arabic and English here?
Shoya.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's funny because everyone over here when I moved, everyone expecting me to know like more than 2 languages, and I was like, yeah, that is good of you to assume, but only I know 2 languages fluently. But now it's like,
you know, most people.
Hindi, Punjabi, it's all in the same.
Oh, really?
It falls around the same zone and dialect. So there's a lot of things. With context clues, I can understand 5 languages, even Spanish a little bit now.
Sure. And your
Poquito.
okay, despacito. And your family speaks to you in Urdu, I guess?
Oh, my parents do, yes. But they speak English too. But yeah.
It's like right now I speak English with my dad, but Spanish with my mom.
Yeah.
That's like what I do now. I think I would have done for a long time, actually.
Yeah. She probably feels more comfortable speaking that way, and that's the case with my family too. That mostly at home, we're like we're speaking. I mean, among siblings, we would mostly speak about just like half Urdu and half English. So it was always a bunch of gibberish. It's like outsiders couldn't understand.
In Saudi, did you guys live in like a Pakistani community? Like,
No, it was mostly our community. We didn't really. They had like an American camp and everything for all the American residents and stuff who were also like different nationalities and stuff. But other than that, like it was mostly just us, and there were other families too that were Muslim and Pakistani and Urdu speaking. So it's just natural. So to be able to relate to those from the same culture and the same dialect around you.
How did it feel when you moved to Virginia, like straight here?
Yeah, we moved straight here, and
do you know why
that was
Virginia?
our first place.
Do you know why your family chose?
My dad got a job here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
He used to work in DC, and that was the first place he saw. And that's about it. And then life here, honestly speaking, like I didn't even make that many friends. I think that happens with most people who move anywhere when they migrate permanently. Is it emigrate or immigrate?
I guess immigrate.
Emigrate.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and but yeah, it was
how did it feel when you first moved here? Like everything is so different.
cultural shock, the usual.
Yeah.
Cultural shock, language barriers, a lot of I think nuances. Like I didn't even know what sarcasm was until I entered high school. Like
really?
Not even high school, actually college, because we didn't grow up with like cable or anything. I know most kids over here, they started watching Friends way before, so I mean they knew how Chandler speaks and everything.
Yeah.
We didn't know that. I wasn't even allowed to watch, like, I remember once we turned out PBS, and I think it was late night, and it was The Simpsons was on, and I insisted. My mom was like, "Okay, it's just a cartoon. It's just a cartoon." My elder sister, who had moved here previously, she used to live in the States. She knew the culture and stuff more than us, and she was like, "That's not for kids." And I'm like, "It's a cartoon. How bad can it be? It's a cartoon. Cartoons are for kids." And I didn't understand that.
True.
And then once I saw it when I was a grown, I was like, yeah, this is not for kids. I'm not letting my kids watch that. But my parents didn't know any better. Like, they knew the culture, or they knew the yes or no's to societies and things over here based on what my sister told them. So.
Luke, are you yawning into the mic? He was like,
and then those puppy eyes. Like, he looks at me like, what did I do?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the cartoons, because also like Family Guy.
Yeah, but like I said, like I think most cartoons we didn't have cable or anything moving here. We just had the local channels. We had Unidad, which is a Spanish channel. We had literally the news channel. We had Fox and ABC, CW or T20 used to be called back in the day.
T20.
Shout out to the OGs who know that.
Is that where they showed the Tick? The blue, like, cartoon muscle guy with little feelers.
I have no idea. Yeah, we grew up on Arthur and Cyber Chase. That was the 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock cartoons was like me and my sister's thing.
So what'd you do after high school?
That was the thing. So after high school,
The last time I saw you said it was at the graduation party.
Yeah.
In 2009.
Grad party. Yeah. It was literally an hour into my birthday. That was the first and last time I celebrated my birthday with my classmates. But that's about it. So I went through a lot of ups and downs. But yeah, I didn't know that you're supposed to apply for colleges and you're supposed to do that. I remember senior year everyone talking about it, like, oh, have you applied to here and there? And because it was also a culture thing, but also like everyone growing up as a child here is more easier to understand how you're going to step into adulthood or how you're going to get there, or people around you start talking about it. Like if you have older siblings, them, or your parents, or people around you, like your family, friends, your relatives, and people within your communities. And I feel like I didn't know any better, even though my sisters went to high school and college here, but I'm guessing maybe their friends, or I don't know the whole story. I can't speak for on their behalf, but all I know is I didn't know how the do's and don'ts that you're supposed to apply actually, like in the previous fall when you're still a senior and you're supposed to start writing your essay and everything like that. So I didn't know that this entire planning needs to be started before June. You know, so nobody told me that. And of course I learned it the hard way. But I did have a really good friend from high school who was a year older than me, and class of 08, and she when she left, I didn't know pretty much. I was just kind of lost, and even though senior year was like, I was excited about graduation and stuff, I had no idea, like, okay, what do we do now? Like, once we get out of school, like, what's the thing? Because, you know, our parents weren't familiar at that time. Yeah. So it was just, I was kind of just like on my own. And after that, I realized that no, I think it's just, I'm just gonna have to figure it out on my own. So obviously, naturally, I passed the deadline. And for the longest time, I even remember on the last day or the last week of school, everyone kept asking, like, just so, because like while they were signing my yearbook, there, everybody was just asking, like, oh, where are you gonna go to school? And they were just saying, like, most people went to Mason and stuff. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know. But I did always wanted to go to UVA. That was legit it was actually even before we moved to America. And I remember when the day when my parents told me, oh, we're moving to America, but you can't tell anyone, can't say anything to anyone, or I don't know why parents do that, but they were like, don't tell anybody in your school. So I never got a chance to say bye to any of my schoolmates from Saudi, and they didn't even know that I was leaving, and I had no way to like connect with them until we moved here, and then I had a Gmail account created, and then my sister told me how to use a computer and keyboards and typing and AOL and Messenger and MSN Messenger, and then I reached out to my friends from back home and I said, hey, you know, we're moving out, and that's when I finally knew that, okay, this is like a different world that we're going to be living in. So I had no idea, like, you know, how to go about it and stuff like that. So my friend was really nice, and she actually she introduced me to Nova, which was the community college, and I was just like, okay, well, if I'm saving money, then, you know, that's good. And she showed me the ins and outs, and because she was going to one of the campuses, and I went to the campus, and then from there, like, I just kind of had to learn everything on my own. And
which campus were you at? Annandale?
So Annandale, I think that's the main headquarters, if you will. And I think that's where like the provost and the president mostly do like the big meetings and stuff. That's what I've heard from one of my friends who used to be a administrator there. Cool.
I went to Nova too. Annandale.
You are?
I went to most of the campuses except for Springfield.
Oh,
and
okay.
Except for there's one in Woodbridge too, I think.
Yes.
So I haven't been to Woodbridge or Springfield, but the other ones I've been to.
Oh, you've been to MEC? I've heard that MEC has a really nice waterfall look.
Is that Manassas?
No, MEC.
Where is that?
I think that's the one in Loudon.
Oh, in Sterling?
Woodbridge? No, I think it's the one in Woodbridge.
Okay, I haven't been to that one.
It's the medical campus or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I haven't been to that one.
So I've only been to Annandale and Manassas, but Annandale was the one where you're supposed to like register, like when you first sign up and stuff. So but Manassas was my home campus, obviously, because it was more closer. Yeah. And and she just got me situated, and I was like, okay, but how's this supposed to happen, and what are the do's and don'ts of college? And she's like, well, you just get to decide, and these are your classes. And it was a lot of trial and error is what it was. I wish someone would have just told me, like, I guess prepared me for, like, I guess that's why everyone just kept saying, like, even in school, like, oh, just take your classes seriously, do all your homework, you know, ace all your tests, and just get good grades. I feel like half of the South Asian / immigrant parents, that's all what they say. They just say get good grades, be the topper of your class, and, you know, and be the best academically. And nobody teaches you like all these logistics and the admin side of the part where like you're supposed to grow as a person and
True.
you step into the real world, and not everything is laid out for you. I think it's more of like high school or just the schooling system under 12 or K to 12 is more like, here's your buffet, you pick and choose whatever salad you like. And that was when we were choosing classes at the end of the year. I remember the counselor used to call us in like the week before and used to get, like, okay, so what electives you want. And the core classes were already decided for us. So that was half the headache we didn't have to worry about. Right?
My senior year, I didn't even take math.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
You were that good?
No, for some reason, I did Algebra 1 in, I think it's 8th grade.
Okay.
So I was like 1 year ahead in math. Not that I enjoyed it. I just happened to do Algebra 1 in 8th grade.
Wow. So casually, nonchalantly.
So my senior year, they're like, hey, you want to do calc? I'm like, no, I'm going to do like art. I'm going to do creative writing.
Did we have art together? Did you have Miss Young?
No, I had a guy. I forget his name.
Was it? Okay.
But my senior year, I also finished my language requirement, so I didn't do any languages.
Wow.
So
naturally.
Yeah.
Did you ever take the language test?
I don't know. I just took Spanish classes. I was lazy and it was easy. Yeah.
See, no offense, but like I feel like, especially the natives that moved here and they had classes already as like ready for elective, like French, German, Latin, even though it's dead, Spanish, and all these, even I think Arabic was
cool
for like one of the years or something like that. But Urdu was more of the minority, so it wasn't available. But had they given me that, and I remember during middle school they did have like a language test where they were doing like the placement for me, and they were gonna give me credit had I known Urdu, but I only read up until 5th grade, and so that's not a lot of like comprehension wise and analysis and all of that. The whole literature thing, that all starts from 6th grade back home. So I never got a chance to do that. My sister did, and that's why she got the language credit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's why she was ahead, because she could choose other electives.
They let me skip 1 year of Spanish, and AP was like actually not that easy. I saw other native speakers that had trouble with it.
You took AP Spanish?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I just thought like,
and you probably aced it, right?
I mean, I think I had like a B maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was tougher than
See, for us, for me, B is a very big deal. But see, if you go to my parents and say, oh, I got a B, they'll be like, why didn't you get an A? Nicholas?
I remember like I didn't stress out in the class. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this. Like, it's kind of fun. There's some cool people there.
It's cool.
But yeah. Oh, wait, so what was your major at Nova?
So I started doing fine arts and design because that's all I knew. Art was my best, even though there were some assignments that I could skip. But I feel like art is like, it doesn't sit. I feel like anything creative in this world doesn't sit on a particular time slot. Anything creative you do, podcast, writing, photography, art, painting, designing, all these creative elements cannot be constricted with time, because the more time you spend on that craft, it's a craft is what it is. I feel that the craft only gets better with time. You can always make that painting 10 times better than it was. You can always invest. If you invest, I'm sure you've seen like reels of like time lapse of people who are like painting or any of the into their crafts. The longer pottery, we did pottery I think for a quarter during art class, and the more I felt like the more I was with the clay. I think we did it in middle school too, where do you remember Mrs. Rose?
Did we make masks? Is that what we did?
Yeah, we did masks when this young in high school.
Okay.
But we did but unless you had theater too.
I did not.
In middle school. Okay, but we did do masks in theater. But I remember Mrs. Rose, or Mrs. Rosie, sorry, but she was beautiful and very graceful. Perfect art teacher. And I remember she told us to build like a kettle, and the concept was you could make that kettle anything, you just had to be creative. And I was like, oh, I love kittens, I love cats, so maybe I'll do something cat, or I'll do like a small bowl and the mommy cat is like kind of around, and the baby cats are like, you know, kind of in there, and the spout is it looks like a kettle, but it's like actually a cat sitting in a bowl, and then I'll just add the spout. That in itself just took me forever, and I never got there. And she was like, you know what, why don't we just make it simple and you can just draw a cat. But I remember the inner perfectionist in me just didn't want to accept that, because I was like, I just don't want to do that. I wanted to do I had the image in my head, I just couldn't implement it and make it happen.
I didn't have enough time, or
that's true, because in school you're limited to you know, 45. Like, I'm just like, I bet if we, like, in college we had like 3-hour long lectures. If somebody gave me 3 hours, I probably would have created at least the head and the tail by then. But I wasn't able to finish, or I just got to the dome part of the bowl and I flipped it around, and I was like, you know what, I can't, I give up. I got frustrated with myself. So I think one of the things, like, I know you said, like, we'll talk about self-care and stuff, but one of the things that I have learned, like, this far full circle, like from high school and then all the way to here, is in real life, the best thing I can do is learn how to be patient with myself. Because I realized that it doesn't matter if other people are patient with you or not. When you're patient with yourself, you automatically assume the responsibility of gratitude, humility, grace, and effortlessness that other people will most likely perceive.
Cool.
I feel.
The word grace, I always get mixed up with. I'm not sure how to define it.
Think of when someone says grace, this, or at least when I say it, I say it in the means of, you know, in ballet they're taught the eau de trois, which is basically like the little Michelle Kwan thing, and then like the spinning. Sorry, that's ice skating, but you get the point. Like the whole ballet thing, like that little pose that, because they have to land on their feet in a way where they don't break their bones, they don't break their back, and it also looks graceful. So I always, whenever someone says grace, I think ballet, because it requires a lot of patience with yourself, with your body, and it requires a lot of like self-awareness in that present moment, and it helps you be more like, you know, more effortless. So it doesn't feel like you're actually putting effort into it. So, and then gradually that,
like, it flows.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever someone says grace, I think of contemporary dance, because that usually is like la 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 la, you know, just like in the flow of things.
Cool. So after Nova, then what happened?
I took a semester in Nova, and then the next following year I skipped the whole year, right? So I didn't start my class until 2011. Actually, that was my first semester. Yeah. So 2010. So by that time, my peers and y'all and everyone else was already done with their first year, right? Everyone was cheering on about. I remember all social
not
media.
Everyone, like
most people, I would say, like the majority. When I say everyone, I'm trying to say like the majority.
Like
the bulk of the group.
Like I did a psych major at Nova when I first started, because I didn't know what to even major in. My parents were like, "Oh, yeah, just choose something, but not music." Like, I guess.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, I guess psychology. I don't know what else. And then like, but the thing is, like, in Psych 101 and even 102, they only talk about the physical parts of your brain, and not about emotions at all. Just like, this is this part and this is this part.
Right.
And I just got super bored, and I was like, yeah, now I'm out. So,
wow.
So I spent a lot of time at Nova, actually. Yeah. In and out, taking breaks. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Just, yeah.
So that was basically my life. Is I took one semester, and then I had a baby nephew in 2010, and started taking care of him, and I was just home, and unfortunately my career was not, like I said, I was very lost, and also I didn't have any direction. I felt all of these years like I felt like I was always like playing catch up. You know, and then obviously one of my best friends told me that, like, dude, like, everyone has their own timeline.
True.
What are you rushing towards?
True.
You're gonna get there. It's the how. It's not the when. You know? And yeah, I'm grateful. I'm still grateful that whatever breaks I took, I was still doing other things. Like, I delved more into my religion, and I fell more into spirituality and religiosity, and I was trying to volunteer and still trying to get a sense of community and trying to get a sense of self more than anything. So yeah, I'm very grateful now that in hindsight, like, it feels like, you know what, this was meant to be, because now I love doing what I do.
Nice.
And I'm full-time now.
So you work in art?
Yes, I work as an independent contractor, as a designer, and I love my job.
Nice.
And, you know, and it's not that I didn't do retail, or I didn't work in the fast food industry, or I didn't work, you know, on a 9-to-5 an office desk job, because I've done all three in the past.
Same.
Yeah, but I remember, do you remember, I forgot his name, but our geometry teacher, he always said one thing. Actually, this is the perfect time for me to share this, because he always says this one thing which irked me from the inside, and I was like, I'll never be that. He always said, okay, guys, if you want to pass this class, unless you guys want to flip burgers for the rest of your life. He said that, and it just stuck with me for some reason. And I just felt like, I'll do everything. I'll mop. I'll be a janitor. I don't care. I'll never flip burgers. He deterred me from that. And it wasn't until just recently, like right before the pandemic, that I realized flipping burgers is actually nothing. It's just the integrity and honor of your work, and you taking pride in what you do. It's about how you do it and what you believe that you can do. So everything goes back to you. Like your perception and everything, your hard work, your diligence, your integrity. Because no work is small or big. One of my aunts explained that to me. That no work is big or small. It's what you put into that work. That's what shows how big or small you are as a person. I mean, I'm sure you've traveled, right? And you've seen many people in the world, and you've seen how you could be a CEO, but your heart could be so black. You could be so ugly from the inside.
That's true.
And during that time, it actually gave me the opportunity to not be like that. And for a lot of reasons, other reasons, I kept, you know, reiterating that in my head that, you know, I'm never going to flip burgers. I'm never going to flip burgers. But then when I worked at a fast food company, I loved it. And I was like, what am I, like, why was I ever resisting it? I fucking love food. Can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to beep it out? I was like, I love food. Like, if there's any place, if I wasn't an art student, or if my personality wasn't inclined towards creativity, my next goal, my next career oriented, I would probably be a culinary artist. Or I would probably be somewhere in the food field.
It is art. It's
yeah.
And my dad's a chef.
And people don't realize, I mean, before Gordon Ramsay and you know, Guy Fieri and all these, and Martha Stewart and all these people got famous, like, food used to be a big thing. And it always was. It always was, and it always is.
Yeah.
Gonna be. So it's like, I don't know what was hindering me and what was keeping me from you know, not taking what he said seriously.
It's like we trust our teachers so much, right? When they make comments like that, it can stick.
And this is not to bash any teachers. I mean, I had some great teachers. My favorite teacher from high school was Mr. Newman. He changed my life.
Mr.
Newman. 9th grade world history.
English. I know.
World history class.
Okay.
9th grade.
I don't know.
He was the original teacher, and our teacher, or the second teacher we had was Mrs. Hennessy. Who, by the way, lives somewhere in Culpeper County. But I'm gonna meet you. I'm gonna come meet you one of these days. But
shout out to Mrs. Gibbs and Mr. Burke.
And shout out to Mr. Newman and Mrs. Hennessy, which I'll never forget. You guys made that class so much fun, so interesting. Mrs. Hennessy is I'm still in touch with her, and both her kids have grown up, and really, like, I wish doing teachers appreciation post definitely one of your I missed it. I know. I think it just went like in March or something or May. There was a total teacher appreciation week. I know it was for like the kids.
In Vietnam, it's in November, I think.
Oh really? Okay, that's awesome. Yeah. I'll make sure that I'll mark that on my calendar and wish you one too. But yeah, that's amazing because I have so much more respect for teachers. I feel like everything my parents didn't teach me or my parents missed out on, my teachers literally contributed. Cool. And everything, the more modernization and the more American I am is thanks to them because they helped me bridge that gap. True. They were so patient with me. I mean, people say doctors are patient, which I know it's a very noble profession, but teachers, there's none like them. They know the personal you, the professional you, and whatever is left remains in between.
Which reminds me, I'm gonna visit Mrs. Gibbs one of these days.
You should. Works in DC. And I'm gonna visit Mrs. Hennessy. Yeah. We're both here. Yeah.
We should interview them.
Yeah, we should. That would be dope.
We could totally do that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, when did you begin to like intentionally practice self-love?